think that, unfortunately, a lot of people on the left have leaned into this by trying to categorize people by skin color and then give special benefits or special amounts of discrimination. The Harris administration, for example, handed out farm benefits to people based on skin color. I think that's disgraceful. I don't think we should say you get farm benefits if you're a black farmer, you don't get farm benefits if you're a white farmer. All farmers, we want to thrive.
That's Donald Trump's running mate trying to tell us that he doesn't see color, except those black farmers he's complaining about don't have that luxury. For like a century, black farmers have been blocked from accessing federal subsidies, debt forgiveness, and other programs that have been a lifeline for white farmers. J.D. Vance is lying to you when he says white farmers don't get benefits. Under Trump, just 0.1% or $20 million of pandemic relief funding went to black farmers. The rest of the $26 billion went to white farmers. The racial disparity was so egregious that just 2 weeks ago, the Biden administration did indeed begin distributing $2 billion to thousands of black farmers who had previously been denied.
If they denied the black farmers previously, shouldn't an investigation be done? I mean, or is an investigation being done, or do you just realize, oh, they discriminated against you? They should have approved your $2 billion. But then, if you needed that kind of money to keep your farm afloat, especially during COVID and other times because of the weather or whatever, they're requesting funds to keep afloat. Well, what if you're a black farmer and you went under? You didn't make it. You know, do you get the money then, or do they fine you? Or it's just kind of crazy to me. But they're openly being racist toward farmers is what I'm hearing in this report. And J.D. Vance, this is MSNBC and Joy Reid's opportunity to show a very racist Republican at its finest. And this was from 2021, I think, when they were speaking with him. And it's total propaganda to get black people to see that party as the devil and never vote for it, ever. And to keep voting Democrat, even though they don't do anything for you. But would you rather vote for a bunch of racists who, you know, at least talk nice? Or would you rather vote for a bunch of racists who get on the mic and say stuff like, man, seems kind of brash and a little, you know, poppy? You're like, wait a minute, this guy here, we're not used to this. We're used to our racists being a little different with us. I mean, what difference does it make? Racism is racism is racism. But I think that right now in America, we've gotten too caught up in comfort levels. And that's why we aren't making any progress as far as racial wealth gaps and equality and just outright racism, just pure racism is in America. It needs to be addressed and dealt with differently, and not through a program like Project 2025 where it's full of a bunch of shit in there, and then they're selling it to us as it's going to change the government as we know it, and we're supposed to get afraid for that. You know, black people, we've been knowing the government, the bottom of it, for so long that they tell us that it's going to get worse, and we believe them. It's not. It's pretty bad right now. It can get better, though. That's what they don't want you to believe, that it can get better. It can get better. And we need to fight for it. We need to really push ourselves to get something out of this, except the scare tactics of Project 2025. You buy into 2025 and all of its racism, and you're just going to vote for a lady who claims that there's no racism. Her opportunity economy is for everybody on equal footing, on equal standing. So why are we being talked so heavily about racism and race and race and racism? And we are the center of racism in the United States, the most beaten, the most abused, the most discriminated against, the most reason to have our own colleges, the most reason to have all these government agencies that they've created to protect us that don't even protect us. Our reason for forming committees and caucuses in the government, within the government, to protect us and look out for us, and they don't. So then you bring along Project 2025 2025 and you try to scare us. The reality is that we should already be scared. We should already be terrified. And Project 2025, if it's aimed at black people, it might be the kick in the ass we need to wake up and start fighting again. And quit expecting the Democrats to protect us, because you guys are doing a horrible job at it. Terrible.
Republicans like Vance and Trump advisor Stephen Miller, who is tangentially connected to Project 2025, have made it a point to block these disbursements. In Project 2025, folks like Miller, Vance, and Trump want to nationalize their long-term goal of putting a stop to what they call anti-white racism, which is just another way of saying we're sick of America being held accountable for actual racism.
And that's, you know what? If white people's comfort level has gotten to that point where they feel they need to have coalitions and laws and things come up under the color of law, then maybe we need this. Maybe we need this wake-up call. Maybe some other white people in the country, if this is a country that's not a racist country, will see this behavior growing and say, yeah, this is unacceptable. We have to do something to make sure that this doesn't grow, and that we put it out, and not by, as a black person, scaring your own black people with racism only into the arms of another racist. That's not the way to do it either. You don't talk about how bad Project 25 and Trump and he won't admit it, and Vance, and you guys want us to believe they're just basically going to end our existence or put us back in chains. And I believe that we'll be put back in chains more readily by the Democrats, because they're trying to erase our history in our minds and turn pages and pass batons and do all this stuff that we have never agreed to. All this stuff that is being culminated into a pass off of a baton, or no, this is something that you guys dreamed up and didn't include us in. But this Project 2025, we're going to have to get a support group going so that we don't waste our votes voting out of fear, and that we start to read books and talk to people, engage other folks, and find out what they're thinking and what they're doing and why they're voting the way they're voting. And the more people you talk to and the more information you get, the better informed you'll be. So people like Joy Reid won't hop on TV and scare the bejeebas out of us. And then next thing you know, we're doing something stupid and supporting somebody who doesn't support us. That's what's important. We know Vance don't support us. You're telling us that you're preaching to the fucking choir. We know. We know how Trump feels. We got it. But how does Kamala feel? Why does Kamala not have a black agenda? Why does Kamala not have a black plan? Why does Kamala not have something that speaks reparations? Why does Kamala talk about earning the black man's vote and not earn the black man's vote? Not go anywhere near black men and try to earn their vote? That's all I'm talking about. And Joy Reid is out there like a salesman for this horrible product. It's a terrible product. It's a former California Attorney General. You know what I'm saying? A former senator representing the state of California. A 4-year VP, vice president, seated currently. And she got to fight with a guy with Trump's record. She got to fight with a guy. And if this country's not racist and you keep saying that he is, and he's like right here neck and neck with you, then we got a problem. Somebody ain't telling the truth, or somebody is misinterpreting racism and what it looks like, because this something ain't right.
Under Project 2025, the Department of Justice would play the central role in executing their national policy of reversing racial progress. They would force the DOJ's Civil Rights Division, which is responsible for enforcing federal statutes that prohibit discrimination based on race, color, or religion, or...
Yeah. See all this shit she's saying? Do you think that helped George Floyd? Fernando Castillo? Do you think that helped any of these people who died at the hands of police officers, black men? All these laws, all these divisions, all these big old paychecks, people whose jobs are to do this and to do that. But then when it gets down to the ground, when the rubber meets the road, they can get to us. But they want to scare us on our vote so they can keep on not doing anything for us. If what we're doing ain't working, folks, we got to stop doing it. Joy Reid is just a messenger. She's out there just spreading the word for Kamala. Kamala is so wonderful. If you compare Kamala to Trump and Kamala to JD, there's not very much difference. Neither one of them have a platform for reparations or for black people. So that's pretty close to me. They're closer to each other than they are to me.
Sex, disability, or national origin to refocus, moving away from what they call affirmative discrimination and ensure, quote, lawfulness, which essentially means protecting the people who've had access and opportunity all along.
And that's what this country has always done. That's not deviating from the past. If they are more vocal with it, I appreciate them for that because we know how to respond then. But don't be mad because they're being vocal and honest about something that's never stopped happening and has always happened, and as far as we can see, always will happen. It's called white privilege, Joy. And don't call it Project 2025 anymore. It's white privilege. And no matter who we vote for, it's still going to exist.
Joining me now is Michael Harriot, columnist for The Griot and host of the Griot Daily podcast, and someone who has read the whole 900 some odd page Project 2025. So talk to us about this idea of reversing the federal civil rights administration to serve the people who've always been served in America.
Yeah, so one of the things that
she's talking about white people, and she should just say it because that's what they're trying to tell you, black people. If Donald Trump and J.D. Vance get in office, that all black people are going to be subjected to the provisions of Project 2025, and I guess even the Democrats who are white won't be. They're going to be fine. It's just the black people who Project 2025 is aimed at is what I'm getting. And if the math is adding up right in my head, and if what these people are saying is true, Kamala Harris should have some kind of sweeping plan going into effect right now, even if she has to go tap Joe Biden, wake him up and say, hey, we need an executive order to prevent some of these provisions that could happen. But with the evenly divided Congress, I don't know how Project 2025 is going to go anywhere, or they act like these things they just dream up in their head are just going to come into play. They never have. And for years, you and Joe Biden have been stuck in the mud. Now, all of a sudden, the Republicans are going to get in, implement Project 2025, and just the car's just going to start flying down the highway when with you guys it was stuck in the mud. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Project 2025 wants to do. And I want to be clear about it because not only did I read the entire Project 2025, I read Agenda 47 and pointed out that Project 2025 is essentially a instruction manual for Agenda 47. So both things reflect these issues. And what they want to do is remove the civil rights division of every federal department. People don't know that, the Department of Housing and Urban Development has a civil rights Department of Education. And so what they want to do is...
Yeah. Department of Education has a civil rights division. All the stuff that he just mentioned is a bunch of government programs that are there to help black people that don't. That's exactly what he's telling us right there. So maybe they need to remove that shit. And maybe we need to rebuild it with something that's really going to help us. Maybe we need to build it from the outside of the government. It doesn't seem like black people working within the government works too well. See these guys right here? They are talking against one half of the government, but speaking nicely about the other half. And both halves are both racist. You see how that works? Project 2025 is screwed up, you guys, because it's got these people using it as a campaign tool. After this election, you won't hear about Project 2025 anymore. It's a scare tactic.
Eliminate these, and they want to refocus on basically anti-white, anti-Christian, and that's the important part, anti-Christian discrimination. So, for instance, if you allow your employers allow their employees to have insurance that allows them access to abortion or reproductive health care, that is discrimination against Christians and underprivileged.
See, I knew abortion was in this. Why do black people talk about abortion so much? Why don't we talk about reparations? Why don't we talk about education? Why don't we talk about all the things that would make abortion not even matter that much, because we would be lifted. We would be in a place where it's not that big of a deal, where we can deal with it. We can manage it. If one of our teenage daughters get pregnant, we can manage it. We can work with them. If there's rape or incest in somebody's family, that's a very unfortunate thing. And the law needs to be called in, and that shit need to be taken care of. But we do not need to be scared to this degree. Look at Joy Reid. She's just loving this shit. She likes scared black people because they do whatever you want. Take the fear out, and we level-headed, conscious people capable of making a decision. And we don't need this.
2025. And there's a whole litany of anti-LGBTQ, anti-black, anti-everything but white Christians.
You see, I mean, the way they're talking, you would think that the person who they support has something in their platform for them. What is in Kamala's platform that is the opposite of 2025? If people still exist that are trying to harm us through policies and laws, but we have people who we vote for, and they say, oh, there's no problem. No, America is fundamentally not racist. Remember that? That's why we're not getting nothing from her. Because we're under attack, but we're not defending ourselves because we're not under attack. Remember, that's what Kamala said. There's nothing to be worried about. This country's fine, and everybody's going to have access to it. Everybody. She said it.
Sprinkled throughout Project 2025.
And so the idea, I guess, basically is that the federal government's role, which has been corrective in the 20th century, trying to shore up the rights of black folks, brown folks, LGBTQ people, women, they're saying, no, that's wrong. We have to go back to having the federal government serve only white Christians, or at least to make them give them preference or give them preferential treatment.
It's not going back to shit. That's what they do now. Don't just say the shit. We're living in Project 2025 already. We've been living in Project goddamn 2025 since Project 1865. Remember that project? All these projects keep popping up. Ain't shit. What is she talking about? This country has always served white people, and it probably always will. It was built for them. So we have to fight for the piece of it that's proper for us to get, and not what they feel comfortable with us getting. And as long as we got folks like this, we're going to continue to run from racists only to jump into the arms of another racist. And that will be Kamala Harris and what she believes in and what she supports. I don't care what she look like. I'm talking about what she represents.
The interesting thing is that, first of all, there really aren't that many race-specific programs in America, right? So what they want to do essentially is continue the discrimination, not just, remain stagnant, but continue the discrimination and erase any progress. They want to not just stop the fixing of the problem.
And you guys are worried because you think that some of the progress that you speak of is voting rights. And that's just the worst thing in the world to talk about, is harming black people's voting rights, because you guys have a lock. You have a big ass block of people who don't think like everyone else in the country does when it comes to voting. They put their vote in that Democratic pile each time, and they keep expecting a different result, and they ain't getting it, and y'all ain't giving it to them. And no other party could brag on a constituency that solid. And I mean, white men are locked in with the Republican Party, but look at the benefit. Look what they get. Look what a day in court is like for a white man compared to what it's like for a black man. You can be in a whole lot of trouble as a white man in court, but it's just a different kind of a result. The resolution is not the same. We have to deal with that, and then deal with people like them trying to scare us and convince us how racist America is, until we're hearing it from their party, and then America's not racist and everybody deserves the same opportunities. You get it? That's what 2025 is all about, you guys. Everybody feel better? I do. Just talking about it, every time I talk about it, it makes me feel better, because I don't like when people say, What about Project 2025? Are you stupid? You think, come on, are you serious? Are you serious? I got family members like that. They really believe that there's going to be such sweeping changes. We're going to be living in cages or something. I don't know. It's not going to happen, folks. If anything, it'll piss us off and make our athletes and millionaires stop acting stupid. Lock hands and fight together. And quit getting up there and selling us out and making us look stupid. And then turning around in the next breath and telling us Project 2025 is going to come in and decimate us. We're going to be in a bad place. We're in a bad place already.
Right? They want to revert back to the eras when we ignored the problem. And that's a lot of what's contained in Project 2025. There's a section on the Department of Defense, right, that talks about the military. And it says it wants the military to stop essentially being woke. And it uses those words, woke, right?
Yeah.
And revert to the demographics that reflected the country in 1974. Now, if you didn't know this,
But the country ain't woke, folks. The country isn't woke. The history that's being taught in our schools is improper. I mean, they need to just tell the story, but they don't want the kids to see that kind of shit and feel like, damn, we did that to them, Mom? Well, honey, they don't want their kids to know that shit. It's a horrible thing that this country has done. And the way this country has developed to where we are right now. But it can also turn out to be a very beautiful thing. If everybody worked together and quit this bullshit and quit attacking us. I mean, we done had enough people messing with us, and here we are. We can't get away from our own people. I don't know why it's so important to abuse us, the low-hanging fruit.
It's this whole right-wing conspiracy that the military is getting too non-white, right? Like there are too many black officers, there are too many Hispanic officers. And so they want, when they say pre-1974 demographics, what they're talking about is when the draft was legal and the military was white. And so they use those kinds of code words that you kind of have to decipher through this white ring propaganda. Because
is that what you guys are here for? To decipher and let us know that they're after us and us alone and Project 2025. Don't y'all get the impression? Am I tripping? Project 2025 seems to be, the volume goes up louder when you're talking about black people. And I don't like that. Because they're trying to get those ones that are just kind of middle of the fence, don't know if they made up their mind yet, to be like, oh, that Project 2025 was it. It was, they both, he's this and she's that, and this is this and that is that. But when it came down to it, it was Project 2025. That was the deciding factor. I went on and voted for Kamala as a. See, that's the shit that we need to not do. And that's what Joy Reid needs to be rejected in every way. When she does that, and when she has people on her show, who is this man? You know what I'm saying? Who is this man? Where's his credibility on this subject? Because he read Project 2025. What is his reading skills? How well does he interpret what he reads? What is his politics? And what the fuck is his education level? We don't know nothing about him. She just brings some of her on with a borrowed blazer and just think he gonna just tell us something. And no, we're not. We ain't going for it. Not here.
They have right-wing propagandists who wrote this basically white manifesto.
Yeah, let's play J.D. Vance, who's on the side of all of this. And here he is talking about the Civil Rights Act.
And if you understand what the Civil Rights Act was aiming to do and then what it did, and you compare them, it's kind of insane when you actually just put it in like, when I realized this, the light bulb went off. This is what I realized. The United States passed a law that said you're not allowed to discriminate against people based on the color of their skin. And the bureaucracy that was set up to enforce that law has forced private and public sector entities to discriminate against people based on the color of their skin.
I'm talking that reverse discrimination bullshit. And it's the thing about it is we ain't in a position to discriminate against nobody. We don't own enough shit. We don't control anything. We have to ask for everything. Let that sink in. If we didn't, we wouldn't have a wealth gap. If we didn't, we wouldn't be worried about reparations. All that stuff that we beg for and cry for and whine about all the time would be taken care of. We have no authority. And they're keeping it that way. There are systems in place to knock that shit down. We are not here to succeed, and we are really not going to succeed if we're being roped in and handled. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
So for JD Vance to fix that, Project 2025 would remove terms like diversity, equity, and inclusion from all federal rules, regulations, contracts, grants, and legislation, end SNAP, which feeds hungry people, end student loan forgiveness and increase monthly payments, end the program that requires federal contractors to comply with anti-discrimination laws so they could discriminate, overhaul Minority Business Development Agency, meaning no more grants and loans to minority businesses of color, overhaul public housing, enforce work requirements, enforce the death penalty more vigorously, terminate any unnecessary consent decree.
Okay, this list of shit right here, death penalty, SNAP, the food program, all this stuff, there are a lot of black people that rely on this shit. There are. And that's why she got this list up. Because if you're a black person and you're not in the middle class or solid in the middle class, you have family members or yourself who will be affected by a list of these programs that the government provides, which is why the government needs to fix this shit so that we don't rely on these programs, so that the rug cannot be pulled from underneath our feet because a racist gets in the White House, or a racist is always in the White House. Basically, there's always one in there. And you want to scare us with a bunch of federal regulations that might be taken away. Well, why don't you put us in a place, assist us to get where we need to be, where we belong, where we don't require any more federal assistance. What we really need is for the government to take their hands off of us and allow us to move about the country freely like everybody else. And I think we could do better. But all these programs that we are constantly under some kind of government control of some sort, all the way down to the goddamn enforce the death penalty more rigorously. So you're basically saying that you're gonna go after black, because who's on it? More black people than anybody else. Just quit trying to scare black people is what I'm saying. That's just a bad look. It's not good. We come from a place of strength and not fear, and that shouldn't be what we lead with in our editorials, because this is terrible. And this guy you brought along, I'm very disappointed. This is the kind of shit I see on Fox News, where they bring black people. Where you get these black people from? And then now MSNBC is doing it with no black agenda in the Democratic Party, and you guys are beating the drum louder than anybody with no black agenda. And all I see is black faces out there trying to convince other black faces to vote for what?
Meaning police agencies that have been found to disproportionately kill people of color. Thoughts?
Right. And the most interesting thing about it is they want to eliminate this idea called disparate impact, right? That says, like, you don't have to be, use the N-word or just intentionally mean to discriminate, right? The impact of a policy is what makes it racist. But they want to eliminate that. And they have this stuff sprinkled all through Project 2025 that intentionally targets non-black and non-white. Well, everybody who's not white and not Christian.
Right. Yeah. All the rest of us. And Kamala knows this, but what is in her policy that is in opposition of Project 2025? Nothing, because she claims that everything good. That's what I'm trying to tell you. What are you guys in contradiction of Kamala when it comes to that? Because you sound like you're fighting and arguing against a racist establishment that is in office. It's stuff that has been going on and is still going on. And what are you guys doing to fix it? If somebody was discriminated against in a farm bill loan and didn't get it, and the only thing that can be turned up through an investigation is that this person was only denied because they're black. When they applied back in 2000 or 2019 or whenever that money was needed, they were denied. Why were they denied? If you can't find any reason that they were denied other than the reason that they're black, that's when you start changing things. That's when you start making things right. And if this farmer did lose his life and lose his property and lose everything over this, do the best that you can do immediately to make it right. He's still alive. You guys can't use the same old story that you use on us. Oh, no one's alive from slavery. And we don't feel that, we get it. You don't want to pay. You don't want to do it right. And these people don't want you to do right. They're trying to help us run from this racist right into the arms of another one.
There you go. Michael Harriot, my friend, thank you very much.
Yeah, we're not going to get anywhere when we got folks like this fighting for us, because they're not fighting. And I take that back. They are fighting. They're just not fighting for us. We're not that important to them. Joy Reid, look at that look on her face. She's just devilish when it comes to that shit. And I don't like it. And she go get this motherfucker. Where did he come from? What is his credibility? I read the whole 900 pages. And you know what? If you read the whole 900 pages of that shit, then you should be clear that it's bullshit. And that the things that pertain to us and the things we need to be fighting for, we're not getting the help that we need to be getting for our vote. If you want us to participate in this system and we continue to give you our vote, you have to give us something back. Otherwise, we are being fooled. And we have been being fooled. I cannot believe that my parents were such staunch Democrats. I'm sorry, my mom. I think my stepdad voted Republican, but nobody knew. He never talked about politics with nobody. And a lot of black men, if you guys don't know, did not switch when the party switched to the guys from the 50s and 60s, and they continued to vote the way they voted. I think I never could put our finger on it, but I have a feeling that he was a Republican. He just acted like it. But I mean, the Democratic Party is got us on this emotional whirlwind. We're always stressed out. We're always freaking out. Things are just ridiculous. How many times did I have to kill somebody openly for the whole world to see? And we have the same response. Just like a regular court case. It wasn't the police department. It was that individual cop. That's part of the problem. The way we know what we're doing. We're protecting that institution of racism. And they're protecting it too. And that's why this is my version of a support group. So if you come here and you really fear Project 2025, say it. Go look in the mirror. Fuck Project 2025. Go say it. And then you'll feel better. You won't feel like you've given that Project 2025 way too much power. Way too much power. Go get some of that power back. You can do that. I believe in you. All right, you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And don't look at the Joy Reid show. That show, man, I'm telling you, it's not a good thing. We need to do something about that. I hope we get some better shows on TV for us. And some better networks. But I will see you guys on the next Black Popcorn.